What is the worst thing a cricket fan can witness? Well, when rain gods arrive just before the toss happens, is the worst scenario a cricket fan can witness. We're talking about, of course, the ongoing game, which is South Africa versus Australia. We're going to talk about England versus Afghanistan as well. Welcome to the ICC Champions Trophy special with the Free Press Journal Sports Desk. My name is Pratham, and joining me now, my fellow colleague Suraj, and we are going to discuss cricket. Suraj, thank you so much for
Hello.
joining us. Can you hear me? Suraj? Okay, your frame is frozen, Suraj. So, of course, we're going to talk about Afghanistan and England. But before that, very important game that is unfolding right now. They're yet to bat, they're yet to bowl. Nothing has happened as yet because the rain gods are smiling on that occasion. It's a big game indeed when Australia goes against South Africa. We have seen what has happened, the biggest run chase that happened at Wanderers. But when it comes to the ICC Champions Trophy, of course, the stakes are higher, and the venue and the stage is much more prominent. But before that, what has happened in Dubai is still lingering on everybody's head, and that's Group B. You can see Afghanistan, England, Australia, and South Africa. And from day second or third, in fact, after the first few matches, we are absolutely clear that Group B, there was always this healthy competition as opposed to Group A. Group A, there was not a clear-cut distinction between the teams. It was very aptly clear right from the third or fourth match that who was going to enter the knockout stage. But Group B, the competition is still on. Everything is not clear as yet. Suraj joins us again. Suraj, can you hear me?
Absolutely, Pratham, I can hear you right now.
And that's what I was discussing. Group B, still game on as opposed to Group A.
Absolutely. The Group B is still open compared to Group A. Like New Zealand yesterday won the game against Bangladesh, and thanks to that, not only did they qualify for the semis, but even helped India qualify for the semis. Well, in Group B, the currently the ongoing match is being played between South Africa and Australia. However, the rains have just delayed the toss.
Not
So
a good
this
sign,
was
right,
a
Suraj? Not a
really
good sign when
unexpected.
you see those clouds looming large up above your head just before the toss. It's such a sad scenario for any cricket fan, as indeed for the players.
Absolutely, it's a very sad scenario. Nobody wants to see a rain just before the toss. In fact, nobody wants rain to come down when such a high-profile game is being played. However, the weathers are not in our hands, and this drizzle did not stop like for the past. It's 5 now, so it's been like around 3 hours, and the last update was like the drizzle was still on, the talk was getting delayed. So if it continues to remain like this, I think our teams will share the spoils.
Just let's make this clear for the audience here. We are discussing, of course, Afghanistan and England game. So that's Afghanistan squad for you on your screens. And what do you reckon of this squad? How have they played in this edition of the ICC Champions Trophy as opposed to how the English side has played? What a big colossal loss that really was, especially in terms of emotional setback against Australia. You I mean, almost there. I mean, you when you score 350 plus batting first, you know which direction, the direction in which the game is heading, and suddenly at the end of the day, you see yourself on the losing side. Uh, an emotional setback of an epic proportion for England. So therefore,
Uh, Absolutely.
how do you see this battle, this contest, Suraj, Afghanistan versus England?
See, England losing their previous game to Australia definitely was a big setback for Josh Butler's team. They had entered the tournament on a losing note, losing an ODI series against India. And I mean, we were hoping that they would be firing against Australians, and they did do well by picking up crucial wickets during Australian innings. But once again, it was Josh Inglis who made the difference, and even Alex Carey, for that matter, made a huge contribution there. And England, despite making over 350 runs, they failed to defend the target. So yes, there will be a lot of question marks on the England bowling attack, for that matter. And this in the latest update, just before they are about to play a match tomorrow, they suffered a setback as the bridal task was ruled out of the Champions Trophy due to an injury. So they have brought in young Rehan Ahmed into the side, in his place. So they like have brought in a spinner to help Adil Rashid, who's having to do most of the job. In Afghanistan's case, again, this is their first ICC Champions Trophy, so absolutely it was a monumental task for them to just come and play against the top opposition. Obviously, they are not an underdog side. As we know, like they can spring in a surprise, but against South Africa, they could not do much as the Proteas were pretty clinical in all three departments of the game. It was a learning curve for the Afghanistan side. So hopefully they are better prepared to handle the English bowling attack when they meet them tomorrow.
How do you see this Afghanistan squad there for Suraj? Of course, we have been talking about this game for a very long time now, but tell me, we are constantly of the opinion that English side have an edge over Afghanistan squad, but Afghans are known for springing that surprise. Is this game going to witness that?
See, as of now, both England and Afghanistan have never met in the ICC Champions Trophy, so this will be their first meeting. But when you look at the past records, both these sides have have faced each other thrice, and all three matches coming in the ODI World Cup, where England have beaten them twice, while in the 2023 World Cup in India, the last World Cup that was played in India, it was Afghanistan who thrashed England. So of course they would want to take some inspiration from their previous win against the George Butler's side. But again, it's a very very crucial game for both the teams. Whosoever loses is definitely out of the tournament. So yeah, I mean, this will be a really tough game. I mean, both teams will be going all out for victory.
More pressure on English side, therefore, given the way the scenario in which this is unfolding. They lost against Australia, that emotional setback, so to speak. No matter how much you score on, and no matter how many numbers you put on the big score, you still get chased. So as opposed to that, Afghanistan can play their natural game because, in my opinion, they do not have too much to lose. They're making into the ICC tournament for the first time, the Champions Trophy, and up against England, which is a better side. But on any day, if Afghanistan plays well their natural game and spring a surprise, would that be a cause for concern for England, or do you think English is too concrete a side, too solid a side to be thinking about all these elements, all these facets and factors?
See, Pratham, like I said, the England squad looks strong on paper, but the biggest problem for them is their bowling attack itself. You have quality bowlers in the lineup, but once again, if you can't defend a total of 350, I think there are a lot of questions to be asked from the England bowling unit. The
Especially
batsmen
about
can
the bowling attack.
definitely, yeah. So the batsmen can score you the runs, but it is the bowlers who will ultimately have to defend or restrict the opposition to a less total. So unless the England bowlers really step up and they bowl really well, I mean it will be, Afghanistan would, take a chance of piling in a huge score when they face England tomorrow.
Also advantage Afghanistan in a small little way because they're playing in the condition which is very close to their home conditions. So in that sense, of course, there'll be support in the crowd because you can see always a fan or two with that tremendous passion, backing for the side, as opposed to the English side who are, in my opinion, still adapting to the conditions, to the heat.
I don't think England needs to adapt to the conditions and the heat because obviously they have played India in India just before the tournament, so they are very much acclimatized
Acclimatized.
to the acclimatized to the subcontinent conditions. But again, this can't be an excuse of them not making their adjusting to the conditions. They have been around here for months or two, whereas Afghanistan, even though it's almost like their home conditions for them, they have not been able to, take advantage of it and deliver. I mean, again, they could have done better against South Africa, but yes, they still have a chance, to do well because England are really, really struggling. So yes, they have a good chance of, making things count and maybe, win the match against England.
Let's take a look at the English side, therefore. That's a healthy combination. And as Suraj has been saying, it looks like a solid concrete side on the paper. But as you said, there is a one big setback because of that injury, one new player coming in. Let's take a look at the English side first and then decide how are they going to go up against each other, considering their top three players that we have listed from both the sides. So as opposed to
See,
Afghanistan, Suraj.
Yeah. Once again, like you just spoke about the top three players in the side. I mean, when I look at it, Afghanistan again, like last time around, they have players who can score runs, but in the last match they failed miserably. Sorry, I shouldn't say miserably, but yes, they did not play to their potential. I mean, all the batting lineup, they have some good players who can play strokes and, pile on runs, but they didn't deliver. Besides Omar Zai, I think the rest of the matches failed. So, yeah, when you talk about the three standout players, absolutely from the last game, you had Omar Zai, who played really well. He was one of them. Nabi, once again, his experience will come in handy because he's capable of doing the damage with bat and ball. But again, he's not quick with the bat, but his experience with the ball will come in handy. Then you have Rashid Khan, you have Kulbuddin Naik there. These players are
Because
really, I
given
mean,
the
these players
conditions,
have to
given
have
the
this
conditions, we
step up.
cannot undermine the fact that we are playing in Pakistan. So you got to have that balance even in your bowling unit. You just cannot go ahead only with the pacers and the fast bowlers. You got to strike that balance between pacers, fast bowlers, and the spinners. Of course, Afghanistan can bring a surprise. One or two players can come in handy as far as that spin department goes. How do you reckon of this English side? Because bowling has been a major concern, and their chinks in the armor have been exposed against their game, in the game against Australia. So, in that way, how English are going to ensure that they retain that much needed balance between spinners and pacers and fast bowlers against Afghanistan?
See, Pratham, everything will be decided by the weather conditions and the pitch. Hopefully, there is no rain tomorrow, and then it all comes down to what kind of surface will be, provided or to both the teams. Like I said, the English on paper looks solid. The once again, if it's a turning track, they have brought in Rehan Ahmed to support Adil Rashid and Liam Livingston. But yeah, I think England would definitely go in an unchanged lineup. It's just that they have four players, maybe the fifth bowler. fifth bowler's duty, I must say, will be shared between Joe Root and Liam Livingston. But I don't see England going with much changes in their side for tomorrow's game.
Not exactly seen in their element. Some players from the English side, and that's a constant, that's a steady constant as far as criticism go, especially the bowlers. Batting side is doing what they can to the best of their ability. You cannot have 350 plus score unless your batters are in the rhythm, so to speak. But English bowlers are not quite in the rhythm. They're finding it absolutely difficult to find that sur, to find that rhythm as far as their skills go. So that is a cause for concern for English side. Uh, do you think they can come up with something better, perhaps a better game plan? Of course, all of it will be decided by the weather condition, and the toss is going to play a crucial role. What do you reckon there for Suraj?
See, definitely England will have to, come up with a much better game plan to really win this contest. I'm not seeing that England, and the Afghanistan uh, are like, even though they are the beaten team right now, but you can't, just consider them as an outsiders. They both
Hmm.
can play well. They both can play some really entertaining cricket. But yes, for England, they need to have a plan B. Somewhere in the game against Australia, I felt that England never had a plan B when they had English going after their bowlers. So they lacked plan B where they could have got him out, and maybe the game would have turned heads, and England would have stood in with a chance to get victory under their belt. So yes, they definitely need a plan B. Afghanistan also, I feel, has to come up with a really solid performance. Though it's an first ICC Champions Trophy, but in the past we have seen them spring in surprise in the ICC tournaments, even though they are playing them for the very first time. So again, Afghanistan would are up for a fight. I mean, they would want to, just play their hearts out. They would want to ensure that they're really putting up a fight, and the game doesn't look like a very
Because we have
one-sided
also been
encounter.
talking about how these, I mean, you cannot call them minnows anymore, but this particular contest, this particular edition, in fact, would be defined by these two sides such as Bangladesh and Afghanistan, making it through, but not exactly living up to the potential, especially when it comes to, producing opportunities for themselves. They got the foot in the door, they got through, they qualified, but could not make it to the knockout stages. What do you make of that? Is it a colossal disappointment, therefore, or do you think that space, that breathing space, has to be given to them, considering that you have top eight team in the eight teams playing in this international tournament with high stakes in it? This had to happen.
See, Pratham, Bangladesh obviously is a real disappointment because they have been given the international status much earlier than Afghanistan, and
Hmm.
they have been playing a lot of white ball cricket. But then again, when it comes to some big tournaments, they have not really played up to the potential, despite having some exciting talent in their hands. They've always let down by their batting, or maybe sometimes they're bowling, sometimes they're fielding, or sometimes it happens that they celebrate way too early, and in the end of the day, they just end up on the losing side. In the past, we have seen such matches. I mean, the T20 World Cup in India, where Mushfiqur Rahim celebrated, thinking that Bangladesh would almost upset in India, and there was MS Dhoni who pulled up that magical run out. Then
Absolutely.
I remember Dinesh Karthik hitting a six of the last ball. So yes, Bangladesh have the tendency to let go the match from the winning position, and that has caused them a lot of harm in the past. When you talk about the matches that they have played in the tournament so far, well, they did do well against New Zealand, but again, they had to punch above their weight to really, upset a team of New Zealand's caliber. Because against
Absolutely.
India, it was completely the Indian side who
Quite
dominated
quite
Bangladesh
funnily
as
there,
it
quite
was
funnily
expected.
there, and ironically, uh, Bangladesh and Pakistan reduced to just being a formality game. Again, New Zealand and India from Group A, again a formality game, as opposed to Group B, which is quite open even now. You see South Africa leading right from the front. You have Australia, England, cannot be decided as yet. England, Afghanistan, of course, we are looking forward to that game. Group B is wide open, I would say, as opposed to Group B, where clear cut demarcation has happened, which teams are going through and which teams are eliminated. So, in that sense, Group B, this table looks very, very fascinating and interesting.
Definitely, Pratham, it looks very interesting right now. I think after the first win, like South Africa and Australia won their first game, England and Afghanistan are looking for their first win. The South Africa Australia game again, the rain definitely just brought a halt to the game. So there are a lot of factors to it. Just in case the rain reappears, the match is halted. Maybe they'll share the points, then everything comes down to the England Afghanistan game because that will be one of the most crucial games for both the teams. A win for any side would still keep their hope alive, while for the other side, it's almost curtains down in the tournament. So
Absolutely.
and
Now,
going
let's take a
ahead,
look.
uh, and and
Hmm.
and just sorry to cut you in between. Just one more point that I would like to add is uh, it will definitely boil down to the last game as well, because England
Hmm.
now will play South Africa, while Australia will play Afghanistan. I think somewhere between Australia and Afghanistan, Australia are definitely favorites to win. But then it will be South Africa and England who will be battling out. Again, cricket is very unpredictable game. So yeah, we don't know how that what kind of results are going to come. But yes, the but Group B definitely was
Indeed, an
interesting.
unpredictable game, but what is even more unpredictable is the way in which Afghan plays sometimes. We're going to take a look at the top three players that we have chosen from each side. Can we have that slide where we see the top three players that we have chosen from these two squads? Here we are. We have Gurbaz. We have also chosen Zardan for a reason. Rashid Khan, always there, always finds that concrete position in the top three player list. England, Josh Butler, no point for guessing. Duckett, you have also have Adil Rashid. Any changes you would want to make last moment or a day prior, Suraj?
I would stick to Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Rashid Khan for that matter, but I would like to bring Omar Zai in the in this list instead of Ibrahim Zadran. Whereas for England, again, Ben Duckett no doubt is in great form, scored a century, so he'll definitely remain. Josh Butler, the captain, the leader, he would want to play a huge innings when it comes to facing Afghanistan. As of bowling, I would. It's very difficult to predict because the bowlers have not been having a great time in the tournament. So yeah, I would still go with Adil Rashid again. Experienced bowler, experienced spinner. Will can chip with wickets when the Pacers have not been able to deliver. He's been there picking up a couple of wickets. So yeah,
Suraj, love the
I'll
fact,
just stick
love
with
the fact how these two players have been placed in our slide. You have Rashid Khan, you have Adil Rashid, right, bang alongside each other from respective squad. How do you see their potential as far as the way in which this particular edition of the ICC Champions Trophy is unfolding? Both are known for their proficiency, both are known for being lethal on their given day. But the way in which this particular edition has unfolded, how do you see their strengths in this particular decider?
I mean, when it comes to Adil Rashid and Rashid Khan, I would say Adil Rashid has a little bit of edge. Rashid Khan is effective in the T20 format, but in ODI format, he's still, he had to prove himself that he can be a brilliant bowler in the ODIs. And Adil Rashid, I don't think needs an introduction. The veteran spinner, he's done well in the white ball format for England. It's just a matter of time, just one game where he's back, getting maybe 3 wickets, 4 wickets, 5 for that matter. So the game against Afghanistan, I feel, is a perfect opportunity for Adil Rashid, in fact, to just deliver. I mean, just pick wickets for England and restrict Afghanistan from getting a huge total.
Given the conditions and given the data that we have, winning the toss, batting first, of course, England should not be shying away from the fact that just because they scored 350 runs and yet witness themselves on the losing side in the end doesn't mean that they're not going to bat first, right? As simple as that.
Absolutely. I mean, after piling 350 runs against Australia, the batter's confidence will be, at a high. But like I said, cricket is a very unpredictable game. So, if that can score a century in the first match, there are high chances that he might end up not even scoring a 10 runs in the upcoming game. So that's the thing. But yes, when it comes to batting, England definitely has an advantage because the batters are looking great form. It is only the bowling department that is a bit of concern for them, and the bowlers will have to step up if they really want to get the 2 points at the back.
What do you have to say about, and this is a crucial question, an important one, without ridiculing anyone, the way in which Pakistan has exited and have been eliminated from this particular edition of the ICC Champions Trophy? Do you think the fans would turn up in numbers, no matter how significant or how engaging a contest is likely to be? Therefore, Afghanistan and England match is likely to suffer a blow in terms of the way in which the audience may turn out, or the lack of it, therefore.
See, it is a real disappointment or a shame, I would say, because Pakistan, being the defending champions, were expected to do well on their home conditions. But again, losing back-to-back matches against New Zealand and India really dent their hopes. And obviously, New Zealand yesterday winning against Bangladesh, just I mean, that was it. I mean, even their captain Mohammad Rizwan, following the game against India in a press conference, said that uh, they did not. He accepted that Pakistan were almost out of this tournament, and mathematically there was a possibility that they would remain. Yes, for the fans in Pakistan, it is definitely a disappointment to see the home team, lasting for just a couple of matches because they would have wanted them to go deep in the tournament, maybe in fact win the tournament and retain the title on their home ground, but it didn't happen. Uh, but yes, I am sure in a cricket crazy country like Pakistan, and fans would still want to turn up and watch Afghanistan, England, and the other matches that is going to be played in the venues out there. Because it doesn't matter if Pakistan is there or not, but ultimately it's cricket that has to win. So I'm hoping that fans turn out in numbers to support
And how quickly do things change? And
the other team.
how quickly do things change, don't they? I mean, the Group B looks open, but things are going to change dramatically and drastically. It's not going to be open anymore. The moment we see the rain gods slightly walking away from the venue as of now. Afghanistan and England, of course, that will be decided as well, and that will seal the spots for the knockout stages for the respective team in that particular group. Thank you so much for joining us, Suraj. Thank you so much for your opinion as always. And this is a crucial game. The English also have an edge, but Afghanistan side and the crucial players in it can spring a surprise or two as they are expected as always. Thank you so much for joining us. That was the prediction for Afghanistan and England game. See you tomorrow for for one more interesting contest, for one more battle where we're going to analyze, decide, decode, and see what exactly it unfolds like with various factors coming in and this unpredictability factor going away, because Group B as of now looks open, but by tomorrow the scenario could be absolutely different. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition with the Free Press Journal, where we are discussing the ongoing ICC Champions Trophy. Thank you.